If I could, I'd like everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If we could, I would like to go around and have you introduce yourselves, and that is 2 reasons. Number 1, some of us may not know all of you. And number 2, Michelle, our note taker, needs to be familiar with who you are and when you speak, so that she can take whatever notes that she needs to. So, Ted, why don't you start, please?
I'm Donald Wright, but my friends all call me Ted, so please call me Ted. I'm from Tuftonboro, and I'm a newly elected state rep.
I'm Susan Ticehurst, newly elected rep from Tamworth, and that district includes Albany, Madison, and Freedom as well.
Tom Lavender from Brookfield. Bill Nelson from Brookfield, representing District 5.
Steve Schmidt from Wolfboro, representing District 6.
Gene Chandler from Bartlett.
Mark McConkey from Freedom.
Karen Umberger from Conway.
Chris Ahlgren from Wolfboro.
Michelle Clancy, Recording Secretary.
And Ed Butler from the new Northern Flotario.
Harry Merrill from Ossipee.
Glenn Cordelli, newly elected, representing District 4, which is Tuftonboro, Moultonboro, and Sandwich.
Carol Crawford, District 4. I live in Moultonboro.
Dorothy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dorothy Solomon, County Commissioner.
Dave Sorensen, County Commissioner.
Asha Kenny, County Commissioner.
Okay. Thank you very much, and congratulations to all of you who won your election. And we have county business, which takes a good portion of our time, and so that's what we're here for today. Are there any public comments? Okay. Seeing none, I will close the public comments. The first order of business is to elect the chairman of the delegation. I will take nominations. Mark?
Thank you, Representative Umberger. I'd like to nominate Karen Umberger as chairman of the delegation.
Thank you. Are there any further nominations? Yes, Ted?
I'd like to nominate Chris Ahlgren.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further nominations? Okay, seeing none, I will close the nominations. I think that we're all big people and can can do this in public without you know, having to do a secret ballot. And so if we could.
Do you want to have a ballot?
Do you want to have a ballot, Gene?
Or just so not start out making enemies on the first day. they're gonna come soon enough, isn't they?
I would agree with Gene. Let's have a ballot.
Okay, that's fair enough. Okay, this puts me in a pickle because
Madam Chairman.
I don't have any paper.
Oh, just
We get some.
So,
End of the expenditure.
And we haven't approved the budget, so we don't have a budget for the paper,
so if everybody would take their agenda and fold it in an appropriate position.
You save room for the vice chair.
Yeah, I actually cut it in half so that we have room, and we will ask Dave Sorensen, who is currently the chair of the county commissioners, to be our counter, if you would. Yep,
Some
just
background
put
down,
some,
you're gonna collect them.
just, oh, no, it looks like he's collecting.
This line and back.
Oh, it looks like you voted twice there.
I did, because I wanted to be fair.
So it's good.
It appears that there are 13 of us here, I think. And so if you end up with more than 13,
I got everybody's?
so we shall allow Dave to do this, and in the meantime, does anybody have any interesting stories this morning that they would like to share, or would we just like to sit quietly and wait for the results?
It shouldn't take that long.
Right.
I'm having a funny feeling.
Even if we voted twice, it's still only 14. So
There's 3 towns in my district. Do I get 3 votes?
you do.
Oh, I got 7 then.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Chris and I get a half each.
And I get 11. Balances it out.
That's right.
Did you get an agenda?
Not only that, you get 2 for your people that are here this morning.
Right, right.
The newly elected chairman is Karen Umberger.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, and thank you for your confidence in me. And I will try to do the best job that I possibly can. So, thank you. Now I need nominations for vice chairman.
Nominate Representative McConkey for vice chair.
Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, do we need a secret ballot on this?
We can rescind that last vote.
Okay, I would like to congratulate Representative McConkey on being selected as the vice chair.
Thank you.
Okay, delegation clerk. The clerk historically has been one of the new members of the delegation, unless the clerk was there before. And that is how I ended up as the clerk. Just for a couple of things, the clerk is the person that puts into the calendar the information about the meeting. The clerk is also the person that reviews the minutes. And those are primarily the responsibilities of the clerk. The other thing is that we do have an executive committee, which is made up of the chairman, the vice chairman, and the clerk. In the 4 years that I've been here, the executive committee has never met. Okay. So, just in case you thought that was a burdensome task. So, is there anyone that would like to be nominated for clerk? I don't see any number.
I thought you were going to continue doing that as part of this job.
Oh, thank you, Gene.
Well, it's just, it makes sense. It all falls into one thing.
It all falls
You know when the meetings are, so you can do the motion.
Is there anyone that would like to volunteer for clerk?
I would do it.
Okay, all right. Ed Butler?
Thank you, Ed.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to volunteer for this wonderful job? It's not hard. Okay. In that case, we will unanimously accept Representative Butler as our new clerk. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, on the agenda, we have added, and I'm not sure if it got on there or not, it didn't. Jack Widmere, our treasurer, needs to speak to us momentarily about TANs. And hopefully he'll tell us what he needs, and we'll decide whether or not we're going to accept that or not.
Thank you. For the benefit of some of the newer members that may not know how the county actually operates as far as cash flow goes, we bill the towns and collect tax money after we've spent the money. So we need to borrow tax anticipation notes to operate the county each year. Last year we borrowed a little over $10 million, about $10 million. The request is normally for more than that, so we don't have to come back to the county if we run short of funds. But we'll only borrow the amount of money that we need to borrow. So the official request is, as treasurer of Carroll County, I am asking for permission to borrow up to $14 million in anticipation of taxes for the calendar year 2013. And that's the standard yearly request that the treasurer makes.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right.
Any questions about that?
Does anyone have any questions, comments? Jack has been very judicious in his borrowing, and we certainly thank him for that. So, any other comments? In that case, could I call for a vote, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 13-0.
And I do have a form for the due.
Move we go to convention.
Clerk.
Okay. Do I have a second?
Second.
For those that maybe aren't familiar with this move to go into convention, none of the county's business is official until it is voted on in convention. And so anytime we make motions, and because Jack has to go, we go into convention, which means that we are the official board, I guess is the right term, of the county. And that's how we manage to do that. And so we make a motion in executive session, and then we move into convention to confirm that vote. And it doesn't always occur right afterwards, but as I said, Jack is probably going out to borrow the money here in the next 15 minutes, so it is appropriate. So, could I have a motion, please? We're in convention.
Well, we didn't vote on that yet.
Oh, yes, we did.
You had a second, but we didn't vote to go into convention, did we? You voted to.
Oh, we didn't?
No.
I'm sorry, I thought we did. All those in favor of going into convention, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 13-0.
Make a motion, we approve the request.
Second.
All those, any comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
13-0.
Move to come out of convention.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So that's the process, which might be a little confusing if you have never sat in on a county meeting, but that's what we do. Okay, next on our agenda is Mr. Jack Rose, who is here today to speak to us about the Loon.
I must apologize, I have 12 color copies, and the last one is black and white. So if you would help yourself as you go around the delegation floor. I also have 3 for the commission. Thank you very much for allowing me to present to you today. I'm here on two items, both dealing with the Blue Loon Transportation, as it's commonly called, Carroll County's transit system. The two items I'm seeking, one is I'm hoping to gain support and recognition and endorsement from both the Board of Commissioners and from the delegation. The Blue Loon services have now been in operation 2 full years and are growing very well. Attached to your brochure that I gave you is a handful of acknowledgments, if you will, from different riders who are using the service and their appreciation for what we provide. The service is growing very well. The Dial-A-Ride service, we have 2 separate services, by the way. One's called Dial-A-Ride and one is called, we call it the Flex Route, but it's a scheduled bus service. Flex Route only meaning that the bus driver has the ability to go off of his route as far as a quarter of a mile to pick up and drop off riders. As you can see, the Dial-A-Ride service has been in operation for 2 years. The first year, the ridership was 2,407. This year, it's 6,098, and we're projecting next year that the Dial-A-Ride service will hit 7,000 or more. The Flex Route service has not been in operation for a full year yet. Will be in January. Total ridership 2,700. We're projecting next year that ridership will increase to 7,000. Reason being, we're pretty boastful about the fact that the service is being very well accepted, and it's a needed function in this county. We also take riders as far as Laconia so they can get to Lake Region Medical Center as needed. So we accommodate the Huggins Hospital, we accommodate Memorial Hospital, we accommodate the Lakes Region Medical Center, and a number of other facilities, of course, along the way and within the service. We also like to refer to ourselves as a workforce transportation system, and we are now concentrating our efforts with Stewart Property Management, who manages a number of units, which are workforce housing units. The newest one being the one in Conway, which is called Conway Pines. Went to a ribbon cutting there 2 weeks ago, and we are getting the endorsement of Conway Pines and of Stewart Property Management to support this effort. Memorial Hospital has dedicated their endorsement. I'm seeking endorsements and should have shortly from the Mount Washington Valley Chamber of Commerce, as well as the Workforce Housing Coalition. I would appreciate very much your consideration as giving us an endorsement as a functional system that everybody who rides it appreciates it, and those who are looking forward to means of transportation will utilize this system instead of turning the key on in their car whenever possible. So I would help, I'm asking for a consideration of $2,000, which is a small amount. 2 years ago, the delegation allowed $1,000. I'm asking for $2,000. So I know the proposed budget has already been submitted, but however, we feel that this is a worthy cause, and we would appreciate an amount of $2,000 to support and show your support to us.
Are there any questions? Representative?
Yep, thank you.
Mark?
Thank you, Chairman. Selectman Rose, the $2,000 that you're seeking, is that for the whole system, or is that for the Dial-A-Ride or the other?
It's primarily for Dial-A-Ride, yes.
And is if I could follow up, the Dial-A-Ride, is that the same source of funding that you also ask the towns for?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
We are hoping to add 3 towns this coming year, which were not currently covered previously, which would be Wakefield, Brookfield, and Jackson.
Thank you, sir.
Someone else had a hand.
Yeah. Is it?
My question was similar to Brookfield and Mayfield. They
Yes.
already have a transportation system that goes south. How
Goes
does that
south,
fit?
yeah.
How does that all fit into this?
And maybe
funding
we
and
could
everything else?
tag team with that so between us and them. Okay?
All right. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. Mr.
Thank you.
Rhodes. Could I ask that everyone turn their name tag so that I can see it? Because although I know most of you, I don't know all of you. Thank you so much. It just helps me in making sure that I don't call the wrong name. Well,
You can read those?
I was going to say.
well, close enough. Close enough. Commander Ayers.
I don't think the commander has made it down.
Okay.
I would speak to the project.
All right, that'll be fine.
This Commander Ayers was coming here to speak on behalf of a project for a homeless shelter. About sometime early this year, I brought this prospect of a veterans homeless shelter to the commander. He felt right away that it was a blessing that he had been looking for. A building. I was proposing that we use 2 wings of the present old nursing home for this shelter. He engaged someone, Adam Mitchell, to go up to the old building, look it over, see how much it would cost to renovate. They came up with a figure. I don't want to quote a figure since I don't want to be wrong, but he did come up with a figure, and at the same time decided that to expand the project to include 1 wing for the veterans homeless shelter and 1 wing for a general homeless shelter. Here in Carroll County, we do not have any shelter. Therefore, anybody in need would have to necessarily go either to out of county or be housed in a motel. The project that I have envisioned and that we were working on together with the commander is one that would not be just an overnight project, an overnight shelter. It's not something that you go in, spend the night, and you go out again into the elements. It's a shelter that provides care so that for the people who find themselves in need can get the kind of help so that they can get out of that need. And I think that the project right here in this complex provides very much for that to happen. Very often, people who find themselves in need of a shelter have other problems as well, particularly drug, alcohol, or something like that. And I'm thinking in these terms of veterans, or some other mental condition that has been caused by their service to our country. And so we have the possibility of having those needs addressed here on the campus, as we do have that service at the jail. We also have a farm where the people could find work, learn something to do. We also have the Blue Loon that comes here 8 times a day. So if somebody who finds themselves in need of a shelter but does have a job, they can actually get to and from work. There are many, many ways that they can be useful and find a way of getting back into the general population. But on the county level, this would not be a cost to the county. Commander Ayers understands that he has to go out for grants and funding on a level outside of the county necessarily. And there are monies available specifically for veterans, homeless veterans. There are grants out there available. For those who do not believe that we have homelessness here in Carroll County, I'd like to read you a letter from Carrie LaFlamme, the Homeless Outreach Coordinator. To whom it may concern, I have been the Homeless Outreach Path Worker for Carroll County since August of 2010. I can verify that homelessness does exist in Carroll County. I experience the crisis with my clients on a daily basis. The need for a homeless shelter in this county is very much overdue. Unfortunately, when you do not have a shelter in your county, people are more reluctant to stay local even when facing hardships. People typically do not like to travel to other counties in order to go to shelter. People want to stay localized due to having ongoing commitments, whether it's for medical reasons, having a job, support services, court hearings, case management, having kids established in school, therapists, rehab, etc. When people are given the choice of moving temporarily out of their comfort zone or usual living area, people 9 times out of 10 will choose to stay homeless and helpless, in my experience. People who are experiencing homelessness are already in a crisis mode. If you add to that having to travel to another county to live in a shelter, this experience overall leaves people with more increased anxiety. Most people in our county will couch surf from house to house until they can get back on their feet. This is most common the type of homelessness seen here in Carroll County. Unfortunately, couch surfing always has time limit, and most will end up sleeping in their car, local laundromat, or on the streets for a few nights. Our county needs to address this serious issue and come together to assist those in need. This problem will not go away by denying it. The downfall of our economy has only made homelessness more prevalent. Anyone could become homeless at any time in their life. We need to have this place that is safe and stable for Carroll County. And that's from Carroll LaFlame. By the way, the reason that it was expanded from a homeless shelter for just veterans and to the general public was because Mr. Mitchell, who came to, as I said, to help establish how much the cost would be, himself knew about this. His son and daughter-in-law and their children were living in a rental house. The house burnt down. Mr. Mitchell's was in a small house and could not accommodate his son and family in their house. And so his son and family were homeless. My son and family, who live in Massachusetts, found themselves homeless just this past winter, early winter, when Sandy came and a tree fell on their house. They have found themselves a rental, but they too were homeless, living in a hotel. Fortunately for them, my son works and they had good insurance. But this doesn't happen to everybody. It didn't happen to Mr. Mitchell's family. And so this is a need that is found here in the county, and I think it can be addressed. When I say that it won't cost the county any money, I mean that. This money will come, as I said, from sources outside, grants and what have you. The county will be reimbursed for heat, electricity, water, maintenance, use of the kitchen, and the use of the laundry room. I hope that you will consider this, because this is indeed something that is very much needed. Thank you.
Are there any questions? Representative Merlin.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. A couple of questions, but the first one would be, am I correct that if you put in this shelter here, it would be open to anybody in the state, particularly if it was government funded, not just people from the county? Am I correct, it would be open to anybody from the state?
Yes. Do you see people running here?
Pardon?
Yes.
Follow up, if I may. Also, can you tell me how many homeless veterans, for example, that we have in the state?
In the state?
I mean, you can always give a few examples, but you can't build a home for 2 or 3
last count I
people.
heard was 765.
And
in Carroll County, Mr. Commander Ayers had a count, just in Carroll County, and just in Conway, of 14.
Follow up for me. Yes. Also, could you tell me how the homeless are counted? I know in the past people have been considered homeless if they're of age and lived with their parents for the count. Is that still the case? Is that in this type of thing? For example, if my son, who was over 18, obviously, came home to live with me, he would be considered homeless. At least that's the way I interpret it. Am I correct?
I don't know precisely, but I do know that most homeless people are not counted. I do know that schools are the best place to figure out how many homeless you have, because children are coming in and report this to their teachers, to the school district. I do know that when I walk down the street, or excuse me, when I drive down the street, and I see people, I saw a family just last week, a mother and two teenage children, and she was dragging a shopping cart with something over the shopping cart. Now, I can't prove that she's homeless, but I'll put money on it. Not $10,000 though.
Thank you.
Are there any? Yes, Representative Conkey.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Commissioner Solomon, I know how passionate the subject is to you. When we met during the summer, and when Commander Ayers had come the first time, and he talked about this being time sensitive, and we'd worked for a long time on the adaptive reuse of our building. He had asked for that opportunity to be here so that he could update us, and very specifically asked for an update. Do you know if the commander is going to be joining us, if that's weather related, or could you update me what he's found for proof positive of monies at this point in time?
I cannot tell you why he's not here. I don't know. But then again, I did not go to my computer this morning when I left, so I don't know. I have been in touch with him. He is working on it. I have met the, through him, I have met the commissioner of, the commander of New Hampshire American Legion, who was also very much interested. And I'd like to address the point that Representative Merrill made regarding out of county people coming to the shelter. As I read in this letter, people don't want necessarily to go someplace out of their county, out of their familiar zone. So just as the people here in the county are not interested or prefer not to have to go out of county to a shelter, I don't think that that changes because you live out in some other county looking to come into this shelter.
Yes, Representative.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could someone update those of us who are new on where we're at in the process and what the trajectory is? Representative McConkey talked about a group having worked on this a bit, and is there a subcommittee that is formed that is continuing to work on it? It sounds like it's still in the infancy. So is there a sense of what has to be done and what the time frame is?
Certainly. Thank you, Representative. There was a subcommittee formed of the delegation last year, and we spent a long time looking at it, and a recommendation came forward that did not get a majority opinion, and we're back at square one at this point in time.
I will add that one of the areas that we will be looking at in the budget process is the old nursing home. Since we were never able to really get any movement on whether we were going to demolish it or bring the county extension here or use it for a homeless shelter or use it for offices, storage, whatever. And so it's kind of at nowhere at this point, I think, is probably the proper term.
I could give you a motion right now.
Yes. Representative Schmidt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had this brief discussion last year, but on a going forward basis, I would really like to see some hard data. I would like to see a proposal concerning the number of beds that would be proposed for the veterans and the number of beds that would be proposed for homeless people. I would also like to see a study suggesting what type of support staff would be necessary to support the veterans and also to support the homeless folks. In other words, I would be looking for a total cost breakdown. Now, I've heard Commissioner, you state that there would be no cost to the county whatsoever because of grants, and I appreciate that statement. However, I don't know how much we can rely on grants continuing. Federal government is $16 trillion in the hole as we speak. So I have serious concerns about the long-term outlook of funding. So in other words, I'm not negative on this, but I would certainly like to hear a lot more information about costs and infrastructure and other types of support that might be required here. So.
May I answer that?
Sure.
The support that you're referring to, on the federal level, and because you brought up the federal level, the VA has a pocket of money specifically to get to the homeless problem of veterans. They have this designation of doing away with the homeless.
Excuse me just a moment. Commissioner Kenny, please put your phone away. I asked you to turn it off when we started.
My phone is turned off.
How about, thank you.
They have this.
Excuse me.
They have this proposal from the VA to do away with veterans' homelessness by 2015. That's what they have on there. With regard to other means of money, I talked about grants. Grants not necessarily, and probably not at all, from government, but rather other agencies that offer grants to this kind of a project. The way that the project would be further developed, and why I don't see that the county would have any cost involved, is that it would be run by Commander Ayers or whomever they have designated to run. On the veteran side, I have spoken with people in Boston on this very project, this type of project, and the veterans themselves there run program. I suspect that would be the way it would be run here. On the other side, and because I had not attended, this was not what I came to the commander with, on the other side, I don't know how that might be run, probably, or maybe, the same way that they're going to run the veteran side. That is, people who are living there will run the project.
I would...
Just one little follow-up.
Okay.
Again, going on with what I said here, and I don't know, but I suspect that there would also be state standards for homeless shelters and veterans that would have to be met, which means oversight. And I guess I would like to fully understand what that is and what that entails and what type of oversight and what the requirements are. Just a lot of information I think that this delegation would need to get. So.
I would like to suggest that if in fact the commissioners are in favor of this action, that the delegation be provided something very similar to what Representative Schmidt was at.
I turned my sign to it.
Yeah,
so.
right, thank you. Representative Schmidt was asking for that. You know, we truly need a cost breakdown. We need a how is it going to operate? What's it going to do? Who's it going to house? What are the implications from the VA? What are the implications for the other side? Because it's difficult to, I think, for us to make any kind of decision on that until such time as that information is available. Yes, Representative Johnson.
What would be the educational expenses involved for the kids in going to school?
There is no educational expense in terms of the town. I have found out that there is a law, state law, that says that the town from which the children come are responsible for that child.
Where they last?
Where they last came from, yes. Where they last lived and went to school.
Representative Butler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just for added information, there is a group being formed in Conway to look at the issue of the homeless issue for students in the Conway area, working with the high school. And so at some point, we would need to understand how those two, if they are going to move ahead in Conway, would impact this.
You had a question?
Yes, it's a comment.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I concur with Representative Schmidt in the essence that, unfortunately Commander Ayers can't be here today, so we don't really know where we're at, but I think we should encourage him to be, even though we're in the budget process, to come to present to us what he has found so far. And I think that we would be, as a committee, be encouraged if they had some sort of coalition or a committee formed of individuals that are going to start working on this to move it forward. Because at this point, as my colleague Representative Butler characterized, it seems to be in its infancy, but it has been about 4 months that we last talked to Commander Ayers, so we were hoping to get this sort of update now so we can make the considerations of moving forward. The annex does need to have something done. We need to start moving forward, and we don't want to pull the carpet from Commander Ayers and say, well, we need to start looking at other avenues, but we also need to have the encouragement that this project has, the possibility to come to fruition.
I'd just like to add one point. The cost of demolishing those two wings will cost the county over $250,000 just to get rid of them.
Thank you. So the task for the commissioners is to get back to us on what your feeling is and some concrete information on the process of moving forward. And I agree that it doesn't necessarily have to be part of the budget process as long as there's no impact on the county budget. So, okay, I have some things to pass out, and before we get to the budget, this is a list of all of the delegates and their addresses. I noticed that there are some people that have not provided their phone numbers. If your name doesn't have a phone number by it, please do that. We also are missing a couple of email addresses, and I'd ask that if you have not updated those to please accomplish that. The second thing I'm passing out is Chapter 24 of the RSAs, which deals with the responsibility of the county convention. I know that in our busy lives, we sometimes assume that we know what our responsibilities are. And so I ask that this be produced so that everyone can put it in their folder that they bring to the meetings, and that we all know where we stand and what needs to be done. So and we will put that in the folders that are of the people that, whatever. Well, I think, yeah, probably, more than likely we do. We also have one other issue to take care of that is, I guess would be considered old business. And that is the minutes from our August 27th delegation meeting, that since we have not met, they have not been approved. And so if I know you all got these by email, I think. Okay.
It's gonna be a little tricky, isn't it?
Huh?
This group voting on minutes of...
I know, but we have to vote on them because they've got to become official. So,
Move to accept the minutes as distributed.
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain?
Aye.
How many abstentions do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
There you go, that's defeated.
Well, one,
I can retract my...
thank you. 6.
One person better.
So we have 7 in favor and 6 abstentions. So thank you very much. And next.
We're moving on a convention. We recommend that Representative Butler vote again the same.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Representative Chandler, seconded by Representative McConkey. All those in favor of entering convention?
Aye.
Aye. 13-0. Could I have a...
Move to accept the minutes as distributed.
Second.
Second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 1, 2. Are we same? Okay. 7 in favor, 6 abstentions.
Move to come out of convention.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 13-0. Okay, thank you very much for taking care of that. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the presentation of the budget. Bless you. I sent an email several weeks ago discussing the breakdown of the committees that will be doing more delving into the individual budgets. And, oh, I thought we had 2 pieces. And I had asked people to think about which committee they wanted to be on. And so, as Commissioner Sorensen is, Commissioner Sorensen is going through the budget, I would ask you to think about it, because if you'll notice, the next item on the agenda is the appointment of the subcommittee chairman and the appointment of the members of each subcommittee. And the reason that we need to do this today is that the subcommittees will be meeting during the month of January. And I know that you would probably prefer that I not just assign you to a committee. So I ask that you be thinking about this, and that we are able to come to grips with it right afterwards. So I would ask that Commissioner Sorensen, either from there or wherever, begin to talk about the budget. We received in the mail a overview of the budget, someplace here. It was just the totals from the various things. We have some of our delegation that's not particularly happy with the budget, and that's always a challenge. This is what you received, I think. Hopefully everybody got that from there. And within your manila folder is the complete breakout of the budget. This is the expenditures, application for financial assistance, yeah, we need that. And there should be, that's it. We should have revenues as well, but we'll get those later on. Today, we're looking at expenditures. So, Dave, if you would.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I passed around this blue document explaining all the different departments here in the county. You heard a little bit about them this morning from several of them. This would give you a little bit of background. The other item I passed around was something that came from the New Hampshire Association of Counties, which I'm president of. Those of you that attended the orientation in Concord, I guess it was last week, Wednesday and Thursday, probably got a copy of that. If not, feel free to take it. I think you've got copies there. I got two items that I'd like to bring your attention to right off the bat before we get into the budget. It affects the budget. But one, as you know, the towns of Wilkesboro, Moultonboro, and Conway have talked to the commissioners and met with us twice on the occasion of offsetting their expenses for their dispatch center. I would suggest, and we just wrote a letter to those towns stating that a subcommittee, or it'd be up to the delegation to decide as to what happens there. There are several options. One, we can do nothing. Two, we can take over the dispatching for those three towns. Three, we can give them a tax break. Or four, all the other towns would have to increase for their dispatch service. So it's a delegation, I think, decision that has to be made. And I would support or recommend that a subcommittee be formed to look into it. We've met with them twice. We have, as commissioners, have not come to an agreement on it. We can, I'm sure. But anyway, that's number one. Number two, yes.
Well, yeah, I just like comment, with all due respect for my friends from those towns, if we're going to start doing this, boy, yeah, I'm going to request a rebate for the jail, because the town of Albert doesn't make much use of that jail. So I don't think it's fair that we should be funding it as much as. I mean, you go through the whole thing. It's a system. If those towns want to join the county district, that's available to them. It's just like it is for any other town. They've chosen not to do that by their own choice, and it's a simple. To me, it's very simple. I don't think it warrants a subcommittee, and it would open the door to every other thing that gets opened up. If you go through, like, look at the some of the extension service and some of those things, and where the services come from, but we don't break it out. The county pays so much money, and if you happen to be in a town that makes availability of those services, that's just the way it is. If we start down this road, I don't even know where you would end up. Certainly in a lawsuit, for one thing, but for sure. But as I said, I'm not saying as much as I would like them to continue the way they are, because it doesn't affect the county budget. That's certainly available to them if they want to use this dispatch system. Because the fact is, they use those communities use this dispatch system now. So let's not forget sight of that. It's not that they don't use it at all. It's used by them right now. So to me, we just move on. But that's just
it's really a can of worms. I agree with you 100%. I've told them that maybe we should charge for their inmates coming from Conway. And it gets into stuff that I don't think we want to get into either. But an answer needs to be made to those three towns that are requesting information.
I would suggest that whoever is the chairman of the sheriff and dispatch subgroup dispatch this quickly and come back to the commissioners with their recommendation, and that way we have at least looked at it on the subcommittee level, not a separate subcommittee, but looked at it. And if someone wants to come and speak to that committee when they meet on the issue, then they certainly can. But I don't see us, doing a lot of stuff, if that's the right term. Yes.
Madam Chairman, could I ask from the commissioners that they reach a decision prior to that subcommittee coming forward?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes.
Being from Wilkesboro, one of the towns affected, you made a statement I'd just like clarification on. You mentioned that one of your options was to take the services that the county would provide them. Do you have the authority to do that, or did I mishear that?
To take on those towns for dispatch?
Against their will, let's say, which is how
I'm not sure about against their will, but we offered Moulton Borough. I've been here 12 years, and I would say maybe 10 years ago we offered to take on theirs. We would have saved that town $90,000.
Right.
They decided not to do that. The other two towns we didn't hear from. But Representative Chandler is right. We do provide services for those three towns through our dispatch center on emergency calls and so forth.
Right.
So there are, it'd be very difficult to figure out what would be the fairest way of doing it. Let's put it that way.
Okay, but I think you answered my question. You can't make them take county services.
No.
Good. Okay.
No?
No.
Yes, Representative Merrill.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Commissioner, when you're researching this, or when you're doing some work on this, I'm just kind of curious. When the dispatch was originally set up, you know what the agreement was? Way back when? Are there any documents, papers, or anything that said what the towns did or didn't do? I'd kind of like to see them if there are.
Okay, I'll try to find that.
Okay. Thank you. Representative Baldwin, you had a question?
Well, I just had a comment that when we start getting into the apportionment of taxes and the constitutional questions that come along with that, it starts making this to become extremely complicated. So, and you know, Representative Chandler might be able to help me out, but I mean, we don't really do the apportionment of the taxes. I don't really think that's, well, I guess I'll have to read my statutes, but I think I remember reading that the apportionment, we don't handle how much gets apportioned to each town. We just appropriate the budget. So we may not really have the authority to decide who pays what when it comes to their real estate tax rate, and that's when it starts getting into a really big constitutional quagmire. So that's also another one of the difficulties.
Well, yes, if I may think of it, yeah, Revenue Administration decides, breaks the breakdown for how much each town pays, but this service is available to those towns. If all three of those towns want to use the county dispatch center, we would do whatever the cost is to make that available to them. I mean, I don't say we'd have to, but we should. On the other hand of thinking we shouldn't let them get a tax break for not joining, we certainly should let them join, because that's a service that's provided for the county, not just an individual town, and it's available to them. So
absolutely, but the commissioner's comment, the commissioner's comment about that we would decide, you know, to make a change in the tax rate, we don't have the authority to give Wolfboro a lesser tax rate because we don't have the authority to do that. It would have to be something, it starts becoming a lot more complicated.
That's true.
All right, thank you. So you've had some input from the delegation on their thoughts.
Getting back to Representative Merrill's, I have here 1892 history, Carroll County, actually, all the reports from the whole state are in
Unless they
this
had Pony
book.
Express
So I'll
back.
start here, okay?
Thank you, Commissioner Sorensen. That's probably...
Another item I'd like to bring to your attention, you may have read about it in the paper. The jail has asked for a perimeter fence. As you recall, in last year's budget, you approved and appropriated $45,000 to repair the walls in the jail. We've had extensive research done with a surveyor, an architect, engineer out of North Conway to look at it. We hired somebody to come in and repair it. They repaired it for $9,000. They said at the time that it was cosmetic, and from what I could see, all they did was put a metal corner piece in, I think, 3 of the corners in the jail to cover up the crack that was there. There is one more crack that they did not get to, and suggested that that should be repaired, but if it's cosmetic, I'm not sure it needs to be done. On the other hand, they did say in there that something else could happen down the road. Now, who knows what could happen down the road? Maybe we have an earthquake and it shakes the building and something else happens to it. But we have basically $35,000 left in that account. Now, we have been put under some pressure from the jail to put up a perimeter fence. The perimeter fence does not go all the way around the jail. It just covers a section of it, and mainly the female cells and their exercise yard. I think we support that, but because of the budget was so high, we took it out. However, we came up with this $35,000, and if the delegation, that's what the cost of the perimeter fence would be. If this delegation saw fit to use that money for that purpose, then we would go ahead with it. Otherwise, it could be put towards reducing the budget. It could be put in capital reserve for use later on, whatever. So I'm just throwing that out to you. I would support the use of it for a perimeter fence.
So you are requesting that the delegation reallocate $35,000
from the capital expense that was put towards repairing the walls in the jail.
Okay. Can I ask that someone make a motion?
I have a question first, Madam Chairman.
Well, I'd like to have the motion on the floor, and then we can
I'll
argue about it.
I'll make a motion we don't approve it.
Second the motion.
We're not supposed to have negative motions, but that's...
That's okay, then. I'll
Question?
Yeah, we'll make it positive, and then we can vote it
No,
down.
I won't make
Oh.
it.
Is there anyone that is willing to make a positive motion?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second? Hearing no second, you are not going to proceed. Thank you very much.
If I could follow up, I've
No.
misstated, it wasn't in capital, it was a settlement
Okay,
that was done between the commissioners and the
that's fine.
attorney.
You got your answer.
Okay,
The
so we
answer's-
leave it where it is, I guess.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Okay,
Thank you. Okay, so it's where it is.
all right. Let's get into the budget then. You're in a bad
I am.
position there. In summary,
Yeah, before we begin, let me tell you that this is probably the first of about 15 of these that we're going to receive. So if you make notes on this, recognize that you'll have to carry them forward.
Point of order, Madam Chairman.
Yes?
Is there any copies available for the public?
Table up back.
That's just for these.
Talking about the full budget, or talking about the final budget?
I will also say, Madam Chairman, that this complete budget, itemized budget, is on our website, so you can go by computer and pick it up if you happen to lose yours. First time that we've done that.
And will it be updated as we make the changes?
We can update it as we go. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
The sheet that I just passed out is a summary of where the major expenses or increases are. And let me get down through those. DEAS, that is a program from the state. As you recall, last year they gave us a tremendous increase, and this year it's $148,250. We have no control over that. The Department of Elderly and Adult Services.
And would you explain what this money is used for?
Excuse me?
Explain what the money is used for.
I don't know. We send it straight to the state, Health and Human Service Department. They're the ones that set it, and we pay it. And it keeps going up every year, and it's like $150,000 every year. I don't know when it's going to stop.
It's not. Yes.
Did you want me to comment about what the DEA
Yes,
is? Essentially, and this is a bit of the paraphrasing, but the DEA tax is essentially for the reimbursement of the Medicaid portion of the nursing homes. And essentially what happened, Governor Lynch basically, there used to be a number of lines right there, I'm not to that page, but what he did was he took a number of these county services and said the state will pay for those county services, but the counties will have to pay the DEA tax. It was kind of a deal. So essentially that's what that line stands for, but it's really an amalgamation of a number of state, county associated tax services. So it's not just that what it pays for, it's the deal that the state struck, which is a pretty good deal for the state since obviously the cost for nursing home care seems to be on the rise, and these other costs were not really projected to be on the rise. That was an editorial comment.
Yeah. I think it's commonly referred to as the bed tax, but
Capital expenditures, I'll go into when we get into the budget. Retirement, $167,000. We have little control over that.
Excuse me?
Medical insurance, $158,000. Wages we'll talk about. New equipment we'll talk about. Insurance was up $13,400. Unemployment is up $7,500. Now, under the wages, as you recall, we have 3 unions here at the county complex. All 3 unions were approved for their increases. I believe all 3 of them will be coming up again next year. There was a 2-year deal with the unions, both the nursing home and the jail. And the sheriff, I believe, was a 3-year contract, but that will be coming up, I believe, next year.
When you say next year, do you mean 14?
Yes, for 14, but we'll be discussing it in 2013. Okay, basically, as you see on this sheet, our operating budget is up 3.2%. To be raised by taxes is up 9.2%. Now, initially, when we went to budget or started the budget season with the department heads, we sent out a letter to all department heads to keep their budget under 2%. Some of them decreased their budget. Some of them went up above their 2%. We'll go through that. Just to let you know, though, that we had put it out to everybody to keep their budget within 2%. If we go over, go ahead.
Had you finished your thought? Had you finished your thought?
Have I finished my thought?
On
Yes.
the 2%? Okay. Representative
Yeah,
McCarthy?
Madam Chairman, I know we're going to go through department by department. Do you have a listing right now of new equipment that you can share with us, so we have that so it's in front of us, as promised?
I don't have it. but we requested it, we have it, I just didn't provide it for you for today, but we'll give it to you, no question about it.
Okay, perhaps you could email that to the delegation members?
Sure.
Is it on the web, excuse me, is that on the website now with the,
This budget is on the website. I don't think individual items for equipment is on the website. We can do that.
thank you.
Okay, if we want to go down through the budget, that thick packet that you have there, expenditure budget comparison. If we look at the commissioners, the bottom line is a 1% increase, roughly $2,451. If you have any questions as we go along, please let me hear from you. The treasurer, there's no increase in the treasurer's budget. Under special fees and services, there is an increase there of roughly $10,600. There are two items there, one for legal fees and one for county auditors. We have our books audited once a year. Human resources and services is down by 0.2%. Waterworks is down by 4.3%. And I should say, under the waterworks, the sewer maintenance, and the farm, as you recall, we had purchased a truck, and so it was allocated out through those different departments. That truck has been paid off for, so there was a decrease there under vehicle lease and purchase from $2,500 down to $1. The county attorney's budget is a 0.9% increase. Is that corrected with all the new recommendations? Whoever's on that subcommittee would take a look at, there's also an increase in there again for assistant county attorneys. There's an increase in there for their paralegal and also for their part-time secretary, which is above what we recommended for all the other departments. So a subcommittee might look at that. Victim witness, again, is a tremendous increase in that person filling that position. I'd like a 13% increase. I'm just pointing this out. I'm not saying that we approved it or not, but their budget is up 10%, and that is victim witness. Registry of Deeds is up 4.5%, and that's mainly due to some. Ann, you want to speak to that real quickly?
For those of you who don't know, I'm the Registry of Deeds. Back 6 years ago when I first started, we proposed to the delegation that I could save significant amount of money by doubling up the books from 500 single pages to double-siding them. It saved us all the shelving that's required for those books, and what we did is we took 900 books and made them into 450. That allowed us 450 shelf spaces, in addition to 450 book covers that we have recycled. So the book covers cost $81 a piece, and the shelving costs about $1,100 to $1,200 per column. So we've been able to save. I have a handout for you as well telling you what we did. I still have enough shelving left for the whole next year, but I don't have enough to cover my book covers. So all it is reintroducing an item back into the budget, which I've been able to keep at bay for the last 6 years. Also, if I can, I wasn't able to make the breakfast this morning. The better part of my budget is the fact that we have increased our income. I think we're probably going to be, for the general fund, and what we predicted was about $700,000, $30,000 for surcharge. It's now going to be $790, I believe, at the end of this month that we've given to the county. So we are seeing an increase in revenue. Hopefully that will offset my increase for sure, and then some. I have two things to hand out to you. One is my breakdown of my budgetary items, and the other was trying to show you where I had absolutely no control to go above the 2%, based on the fact that just certain items were out of my control totally. So if I can, I'll give you those before you leave, or I can do it now.
And I'm going to ask if you pass out not the detailed budget,
right,
but the other one,
right,
and just hand it out now.
Okay.
Okay. At this point, all of the delegation members don't need the detailed breakout, but
fine.
if they would like one, they can pick it up at the when we're finished. So,
I will say that the Registry of Deeds income has increased by about 11%, which means real estate business is picking up a little bit. And for those new members, the Registry of Deeds brings in a lot of income to the county that offsets our budget considerably. And during the downturn, they weren't bringing in much. It looks like it's turning around and more may be coming in.
Thank you.
The Sheriff's Department is up 5.5%. The Dispatch Center is up 6.3%. Now, some of this is in medical insurance, for example. In the dispatch, it went up $28,000. So with the turnover, if they've hired somebody with a family, then their insurance goes up considerably. Not only the general increases, but whether it's a single family or two-person plan.
May I ask a question?
Yes, Representative Schmidt.
Local government center providing the insurance?
Interlocal trust.
Interlocal trust?
They're part of Harvard Pilgrim.
It's a Harvard Pilgrim plan.
Do we bid that out?
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Oh, did you have a question? I'm sorry.
Please. We've spoken at length over the years, new hires and the commissioners with new hires, whether it be dispatch or any other center. Has there been any movement or a policy change by the commissioners that if we hire you as a single individual, that we're only going to pay insurance for a single individual going forward?
We have not.
It seems like it might save a lot of money in the future. Thank you.
Medical referee hasn't changed any. Administrative building, which is this building, is down 1%. The Human Service Department is where DEAS is located, and that was a 3.7% increase, or $148,000. Maintenance is county maintenance is up 3.4%. And again, that took into consideration that vehicle, that so it was decreased by $2,499. The sewer system is down 13.3%. Keep in mind, all these percentages depends on the total budget for that particular department. So 13.3% looks like a big figure, but really it's only down $7,400. Jail and House of Corrections is a 2.3% increase, but I think we also have to look into the capital improvements. That is not considered in that particular budget, although it does affect that department. And we have 2 or 3 cases that pertain to that. The farm is at a 0% increase. Cooperative Extension, which is a agency that we've supported for a number of years, is down 2.3%.
That doesn't affect our contribution to them, though, does it?
Sure does. That's what we give them right here. This is our budget, so it's down 2.3%.
I thought we gave them a standard figure every year of $40,000.
I'm not sure of that.
That's not cooperative extension, that's something else. That's the Child Advocacy Center.
I thought it was too. Thank you. It was down how much?
2.3.
Because
Long-term debt is down. Regional appropriations, the only one that wanted an increase was the Child Advocacy Center. They wanted additional $10,000, which is 25% of their budget. So regional appropriations is up 5.2%. All the others, the home health care, retired senior volunteer, conservation district, there was no increase. And at the time our budget was put together, there was nothing put in there for Carroll County Transit.
Can we go back to long-term debt, if I could? I thought we made the payment for the first year of the nursing home out of the savings.
Right.
And
the principal.
It shows in the revenue.
It shows in the revenue.
It'll show in the revenue.
Okay, so we just paid the principal last year?
Yes,
When
and
you-
interest.
When you said that it didn't go up, that's where I was
Well,
confused.
the payments, principal payments do not go up year to
Right,
year.
but the interest does.
Interest goes down
Yeah.
year to year,
Okay. So we're,
going down, interest.
okay, but, okay, well, I'll discuss that. But that's our payment for long-term debt,
Yes.
principal and interest.
No, that's just the principal.
Yeah, but principal and interest.
Right.
Thank you.
Carroll County Convention remains the same. You get your mileage and you get so much a meeting. And I believe out of that expense comes your recording secretary. Now, under capital expenditures. The administration building is in for $30,000. The farm is in for $46,000. The farm has accrued $9,500 previous year. They want a wood processor. The one that they have is over 10 years old. They're having a lot of problems with maintenance on it, getting parts for it. It's finish made, and they'd like to buy one from Vermont, which is help me out.
It's a Timberwolf.
Timberwolf. Any of those of you who are familiar with wood processors or other kinds of woodworking equipment, Timberwolf is a really good one. It's locally made in Vermont. The one that they are presently looking at, and again the subcommittee can look into it further, is $65,000. Now, that generates $20,000 a year in profit, either from selling firewood to homeowners or through campfire wood. Campfire wood has increased tremendously. I think it started at 3,000 and now we're at 8,000 and could go up to 10,000 bundles that is sold to the state parks. From the wood alone, we make roughly $35,000 a year, but when you take out expenses of purchasing wood in, log length, delivering and so forth, we make about $20,000. So over a 3-year period, that piece of equipment would pay for itself. If the one that we have breaks down, then we have no income coming in. Information technology is $24,900. Nothing, okay. Nothing this year. Our jail is in for $40,000. Jason, you want to speak to that, please? What that amounts to?
Thank you. The $40,000 request is our continued request for upgrading the camera system within the facility. Looking to install the TPZ cameras, which is the movable cameras, for us, would allow us to better capture any incidences that happen within the day rooms. These are all interior cameras that we're going to be asking for. We're asking for part of this funding would allow us to upgrade the recording devices because of the technology that we have is now 12 years old, and the storage and the capability of storage and storing the data is limited. So this request would actually increase the security of the facility.
So this is, the 40,000 is for both the camera and
the
recording system?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
I will also point out that they requested, correct me if I'm wrong, $27,000 or $37,000 for telephone system?
We put in the budget for 10. I'm sorry, sir.
It was just 10?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, that was, we turned that down, saying that we could do with what we have for another year. The subcommittee met with the jail administrators a while back and suggested that that could be put off this year. On the other hand, one member said that, I believe he said, that the money could be taken out of the money left over from the nursing home and buy it outright. But that's something the subcommittee can look at. It's a new telephone system for the jail. Also, we had turned down the $35,000 plus perimeter fence, which I mentioned earlier. So that's something else the subcommittee could look at. Apparently there's possibilities, and perhaps it has happened already, where contraband has been passed from individuals outside the jail through the exercise yard. It can be tossed over the fence of the exercise yard. So it's a safety issue, and I think the subcommittee should take a long look at that particular item. We haven't had it for 8 years, but we haven't had the problems that we apparently now are having. The old nursing home, we're calling the Mountain View Annex, is in for the same amount until the commissioners and the delegation decide as to what should happen to it. But that's a maintenance for heat, lights, and general maintenance. The heating of that facility comes off our wood burner, our pellet stove furnaces.
Yes, Representative Alden.
Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't know. I try to just keep my mouth shut. But it seems to me that, perhaps, maybe the camera system might be able to take the place of the perimeter fence that you're discussing, enhancing your camera system. That having a camera system outside might help to avoid people, coming up to the fence if we can record them, maybe for a lesser cost. And then my second question is, but I'm going to leave that to the subcommittee, but I just wanted to make that comment that maybe it would maybe give you some degree of security for a much lesser cost.
we have had a problem in getting coverage within the jail, and that's why the cameras were requested. I'm not sure, I guess that we didn't ask the superintendent as to what his priorities were.
That was my other question.
The fence
Actually.
is more of a permanent obstacle for them doing things that people shouldn't be doing versus watching what's going on inside the jail. But that we left up to the superintendent.
Thank you.
So in general, for the operating, with the exception of the nursing home, the general is up 2.9%. General operating costs, expenditures. Okay, getting into the nursing home, which is an enterprise budget. Enterprise budget deals with funds that are coming in from outside sources. Much like the water department. The water department should be an enterprise department because we do get monies from the town, from the village of Ossipee that are on our water system. And that's something that we have tried to get out of, supplying water to the village, but it's in an old contract, and it doesn't seem to be any leeway of getting out of that. We thought at the time when the state's garage polluted a lot of the wells down there, we thought surely, with salt, surely we could try to get out of it, but that hasn't happened. So, getting into the nursing home. The nursing home administration budget is up 2.8%. Dietary is up 3.1%, and there is some new equipment in dietary. I believe there's a mixer and a grill. And Horace has done a really good job in the dietary department. He, as you know, has started up a cafe. The cafe is now, we're trying to separate out some of the things so we can tell whether the cafe is really making a profit or not. But it looks good so far. There are a lot more people taking advantage of the cafe. When you can go in and buy a chicken, tuna, salad, whatever, sandwich, a roll for a couple of bucks, I think that's really reasonable, and sort of encouraged him to increase the price. But anyway, it's working well.
Residents?
It's open to everybody.
Okay, so residents can go there and...
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
As you know, the nursing home staff gets their meal free. But if they order from the cafe, they pay. Because it's a general meal, it goes out to all residents of the nursing home. And in the union contract, which was negotiated before my time, the meals were included for staff people. Basically, the reason was that at that time they couldn't afford to go down the street to a restaurant in the time allotted for their lunchtime. Of course, there are some people that say they could bring in a bag lunch too. Nursing department is up 4.5%. We are still having problems in finding people to fill positions. We just finished an LNA class. I believe there was 8 or 10 people in that. And out of the 8 or 10, we were able to hire 2. Others went other locations. Plan operations.
Before you leave
Yep.
that subject, is the problem the location of the nursing home, meaning that it's,
Out of the way?
Yeah, out of the way. In other words, your people that would want to work here at the nursing home. The population, I don't know, isn't, population base in this relatively close area is not there to support this kind of work, or is there something else that's causing the problem?
I don't know that answer, but I would say that the wages are one item that either encourages them or discourages them from working here. Keep in mind, the LNAs do all the dirty work at the nursing home. When I first came, they were making less than $10 an hour. People directing traffic at the intersection was making $10 an hour. Not everybody wants to do their job. It's a dirty job, it's a hard job. And perhaps that is where we are having the major changeovers. People don't fully realize what that job entails until after they get into it, and then they leave.
So perhaps, if you would, for our next meeting, you could survey the nursing homes and hospitals in the area and get their salary, starting salary, and progress for the LNAs, so that we can compare what LNAs are making in other nursing homes.
Keep in mind, they are on union contracts, so that will be coming up in a year from now.
Yep, but I think we need to have that information in order to come to grips with where we are and what we're doing. Thank you.
On the plant operations, it's up 5.3%. I will say that the pellet furnaces are working extremely well. Hopefully that's going to save us money. We had a little misunderstanding as to when that was filled out as far as the heating and propane. But we got that straightened out. It was a lot higher, and not taken into consideration that we're paying something like $80,000 for the pellets per year. And so we reduced the heating of propane by that amount. And Bob said this morning, he was at our meeting, and he said that it's working fine, and we should be saving money on it. So the heating expense went down.
Have we had, have we had a full season, winter season?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
We haven't. That was his major concern. Didn't want to reduce it too much because we haven't had a full year yet.
When did the pellet stove burner come up? When did it come on? I don't remember.
I want to say September. I think it was September.
Of this year?
Yeah. I could stand corrected on that. Seems like it was longer ago than that.
It seems like it was longer ago than that.
Like April? Okay.
Yeah, I think that's...
April's more realistic. Yeah.
I think that's more realistic. Yes, Representative McConkey.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Could I go back to that misunderstanding that you went over there briefly? The propane use, you reduce that from your budget by X percentage. Could you explain that to me further?
We reduced it by 100,000.
And tell me about
and the pellets went up 80,000. So there's a $20,000 difference there. But what was originally put in the budget was the full amount, 140,000 for propane and 80,000 for pellets. And after looking at the budget, we said there's something wrong here. We should be saving money, and therefore he took $100,000 off the propane side in lieu of the 80,000 for the pellets.
Could you, excuse me, could you tell us where that is?
It's on page, it's on page 24 at the bottom.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Heating expense.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
Heating expense, and then the next item is pellets.
So if I could?
It was something that we had picked up.
Okay, so it's a accounting, you didn't take it away from one, the cost of the pellets is still the same. The anticipated amount of pellets that you need is still the same as predicted?
Is what we predicted, right, $80,000. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, I'm sorry, I couldn't read.
Okay, laundry department is down by 4%, about $6,000. Housekeeping, again, union contracts enter in here, and it's 2.3% increase. Now, from here on in, it becomes very complicated. With physicians in pharmacy, physical therapy, you have to look at it, and it's difficult to look at what is budgeted and then look at the revenue, because what is budgeted normally is offset, or we make money on the revenue side of several of these different categories. So whoever's on the subcommittee of the nursing home needs to look at that closely. Even though the physicians in pharmacy is down 10.6%, and physical therapy is also down. So it's really a can of worms to try to figure out those different line items, what's contracted out, what we bring in as income, but it is offsetting.
Commissioner Sorensen, just, I know that one of the things that the nursing home was looking at was bringing in more patients to recover for, operations and short-term kinds of things. How is that working? And I guess that is one of my questions in regards to reducing physical therapy. If that's a significant program, one would think that it would go up instead of down. But I don't know what I don't know whether you call Medicare patients or Medicare patients or private insurance patients. And if you don't have that answer, that's fine. But I sure would like to see it at some time or other. That that was part of the push in the for the new nursing home as a so not it's okay. Just whenever you can get that.
Okay. Recreational therapy, this is where people go out in the vans, they go out in the bus, different programs that are held within the nursing home. I always ask the department head as to how many times the residents move out or go for a ride, get out of the facility, get some fresh air, have a new look on life, and so forth. And their department is down by 0.5%. Social services is up 3.5%. Special Service Department is up 15.3%. And some of that is in, as you can see in your papers, criminal records is a $3,000 item where we have to check through the criminal process of checking their records to make sure they're good and honest people. So in the bottom line for the enterprise fund, it's up 3.6%. or $434,860.
Yes. Representative Butler.
Thank you. Commissioner Sorensen, was this budget created with the last administrator or the new?
With the new.
Thank you.
Keep in mind that we've had a business manager over there who, Paula, takes care of all the records over there. So she's worked with the new administrator, and he was the one that was here during the questioning and answering time before the commissioners. Yeah.
Thank you.
Do we have in this package the revenue numbers, or?
We should have them. Anybody that does not have a copy?
I don't seem to have a copy.
We left the chairman out.
I'm looking at it. That's weird, huh? I got
Yeah, it's not here.
Can I ask a question, Commissioners?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Commissioners, on something I saw in the paper there was the demise of our pole building. Can you update me? Is the insurance covering that fall and where we are with that?
All I can tell you at this time is the insurance adjusters were there to look at it. They took pictures. And unless somebody else knows more than I do, I don't know what the outcome is yet. But they have been there.
Yeah, if I can follow up, do we have equipment in the building that just was crushed during that process, or is it just wood?
There was a piece of equipment, the bucket vehicle that Will had. Apparently, there was a little dent in the hood. Correct me if I'm wrong, Will?
A small dent, but no damage to any equipment, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My understanding also is that it's all been taken apart. A lot of it was saved. The roof was not on it. The trusses were, and there was a tremendous wind, and with the sides being boarded up, it basically blew over. They've had the code officer for Ossipee look at it during construction. He came back and looked at it after it had blown down. He was surprised to see it laying on the ground. He has offered some constructive recommendations for improving it when they rebuild it next spring.
Thank you.
Okay, if we look at revenue, I'd like to skip over the first section and come back to it. We'll go to the sheriff's income. The sheriff's income is down by almost 10%. A lot of it has to do with special details. It was down $10,000. The writ fees was an increase. But the grant funds, and can you speak to the grant funds at all? What's included in the grant funds for the Sheriff's Department?
That's quite all right.
It's okay. It's down $30,000. Well, subcommittee can take a look at that. Registry of Deeds income, as I mentioned earlier, is up 11.9%. Things are looking better there. The past few years, it's been generating roughly $300,000 or $400,000. Years ago, it was up $800,000 when the economy is going strong. So we hope that will increase, and I'm sure Ann is on top of that. As far as income for the jail, there's no change. Farm income, there's no change, and I believe, Will, could you, I think there'll be more income coming in because it's not the end of the year yet, which leads me to another area, and that is we put so much money in surplus into our budget to reduce taxes, and we don't have the final figures at the end of the year. We got the month of December to go through and perhaps part of November. We'll have better figures after the first of the year as to where we stand in surplus from this year's budget. So if we look at the, I think it's page 3, under other revenue, surplus to reduce taxes. Last year, we put in $1,400,000. This year, we put in $1 million. That could change depending on what we have left over at the end of this year. That's what we feel right now that we could put towards reducing taxes. The difference, I hope you understand, the difference between our operating expense of 3.2 and 9.2 is raised by taxes. A lot of that is due to that item right there, where we put in a lot of money for surplus one year, we don't have the surplus the next year, and so to be raised by taxes goes up. I've been trying to reduce the amount of surplus that we put in, trying to keep the budget down, but trying to keep the amount of surplus money that we put in down, because we can't count on that surplus money every year. And so some years it's big, some years it's very small, and then we have to make up the difference. It's something we have to work out and play with, but we're flexible when we get into serious looking at every item in our budget, end of January into February. We'll have better figures because all the revenue and so forth, expenses will be in by the end of the year.
Question, Madam Chair?
Yes.
Thank you.
Cordell. Representative
Commissioner, with
Cordell.
this surplus, I think it's the fund balance that is shown at the bottom line that is used to retire or reduce taxes, excuse me. Is this strictly a year-to-year, or is there an ongoing amount maintained in that fund balance, or is it strictly a surplus year-to-year basis?
There's both. We have, was it 8% or 10%? Yeah, roughly $2 million that we have in case of an emergency. If something happens to a new nursing home, it burns down, or whatever might happen to any of our facilities, we have that to go back on. What we put towards surplus is money that's left over at the end of the year. For example, we got an extra $800,000 from the state that was put into a nursing home, which we didn't count on. So some of that is shifted back and forth, and we don't know from year to year when that money is going to be coming. That money may not come any longer because we don't budget for it, pro-share money.
Thank you.
Did that answer you?
Yes.
So as far as the general fund is, we're 1% above what we had last year, and roughly $187,000 in revenue. If we're looking at the Mountain View Nursing Home, we've been very encouraged these last couple of years. We've had a good administrator, and hopefully we have as good a one that we just hired this year that would help keep our beds filled. He's been reporting to us on a weekly basis, 102, 103 beds out of 103 beds, which means that that's a lot of income to us. We increased the daily rate. I believe it's $283. It was $275. So that's been increased. We are still in the ballpark of what other nursing homes are getting. Some of them, I think the one in North Conway is $300 a day, if not more. No? Okay. Over in Grafton County, what a tremendous difference. Over there, you can get in for less than $200 a day at the nursing home. And they're losing nursing homes, private nursing homes. I think over the last 3 or 4 years, they lost 2 private nursing homes because they couldn't afford to stay in business.
Just so that folks know, that is the private pay rate, not the Medicaid.
Right, private pay.
Or
Exactly.
Medicaid. rate.
And we have roughly 24, 25 private pay, which is probably the highest in the state. I believe it is the highest in the state. Highest number of people that are private pay.
No, I was just showing Tom where the seat was.
Oh.
I think you can go down through the budget.
Representative Tyser, would you hand, oh, okay, thank you. I didn't see that. Thank you very much. Just a second.
Again, in the nursing home income, you have to tie that in with the expenses. Maybe we can help you a little bit by putting together some comparisons as to what it cost in one item and what we received as income in the other, versus looking at the expense budget and then looking at the revenue budget. Maybe that would be easier. It'd be easier for me, I know, to understand as well. You take a look at one item there, speech therapy, Part B. There was an increase of $290,000. I don't know what the expense side, I'd have to go back and look at the expense side to see what it cost us for that. But that's a tremendous increase, from $170,000 to $460,000. Overall, the enterprise fund revenue increased by 7%.
Are there any questions from anyone on revenue? Okay. Thank you very much.
I would say that the Board of Commissioners would work very closely with the delegation. I'm not happy with the 9.2% to be raised by taxes. Hopefully we can come up with some more revenue or some surplus money to help reduce that. There may be certain sections in the budget where some items can be reduced, but this is our best effort at this point in time.
Cindy? Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Just a question.
Representative
Thank you,
Cordone.
Chairman. Just wondering if the budget would be available to the delegation in electronic spreadsheet format?
It's on the website.
I don't think it's in a...
It's a PDF.
Right, it's not in a
PDF.
spreadsheet format. Yes. Is that available?
I can convert it and send it to you individually. I just don't want to put it on the web.
Sure,
in
right.
Excel.
Right,
Put
fine.
it on the PDF.
Yeah, you can mail it to maybe the
Yeah, absolutely.
representatives who are interested in receiving that. That'd be great, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay. Let's talk just a couple of things that I know that on the bottom of our agenda, it said that if there was a school delay, we would not meet until 11 o'clock. And today, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever, I mean, I had a good breakfast, UNH had planned to have a breakfast for the delegation at 7:30. And I felt that since the vast majority of the delegates, the representatives were attending that breakfast this morning, that we would continue with the the delegation meeting at 10 o'clock, or at 9 o'clock. I think that we probably need to devise a better way of notifying people about whether or not our meeting is going to start at 9 or at 11. Because I think today was a special thing that caused our issue, but I think we definitely need to come up with some other method of making that decision, and so that we're not caught in the situation. And I truly apologize to Representative Bucco and Representative White over this. So you have a comment?
Yeah, I do, Madam Chairman. You know, schools delay if it sprinkles. They don't, not according to the weather. And to the best of my knowledge, we've never delayed this before if there have been school delays. And my question is, why are we doing it now?
We have. It was, if I could interject.
Certainly. I've only been here 4 years, and we've never delayed.
The previous chairman instituted that policy that, you know, if there was a school delay, then, then we would be delayed. So she was, I'm merely continuing the previous chair's policy.
May I move that we undo that?
Well, you got to address the public notice too, then.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. So.
Well, are we all in agreement that we will become Nanook of the North and arrive at the delegation meeting at 9 o'clock, no matter what the weather?
Well,
yes?
If I might suggest that in the previous alternative that we looked at when we looked at it was that perhaps the chairperson would decide and call central dispatch by, they'd have to call by like 7:30, because most of us, some of you have to travel like an hour to get here, correct?
Yes.
So the chairperson would have to call central dispatch to tell them, or we're going to be canceled, and then the representatives, if the weather was in question, would call into central dispatch to find out if we were going to meet a little later, if the meeting was canceled and to be rescheduled. That was, I believe, the previous standard operating procedure.
It doesn't matter to me how we handle it, but we'll just plan on the meeting starting at 9 o'clock.
Is that true for subcommittees as well?
Pardon?
Is that true for subcommittees as well?
No, subcommittees will set their own time and place and whatever else. And if the weather is really, really, really bad, okay, that's why I need your phone numbers. Because, you know, I can send you an email, but we may or may not, you may or may not look at it. And so if you would, and I will call if our meeting is not going to be at 9 o'clock. Or I may have Representative McConkey call half of them. And
our new clerk seems to be very much on top of that also.
So,
we'll figure it out.
So between the three of us, we will figure it out, and if there's a problem, we'll let you know.
Also, since the public hearing notice was published in the paper, I think that involves the public in any decision as to whether to have or delay this meeting or a public hearing. And I think that the phone call method will work for the delegation, but not necessarily for the public. So is it possible to have if there is any kind of delay or cancellation of a public hearing especially, to have that published on the website front page?
Undoubtedly, that would be a problem.
Have it put on Channel 9, right, with the schools.
Local radio.
So we can, we'll discuss all of this among the executive committee. How's that? And we'll come up with the best way to handle that. And I don't think in the last 2 years that I've been here, or 4 years, that we've ever held a public hearing. The public has an opportunity to talk, but I don't believe we've ever held what you would call a public hearing, and as far as the delegation is concerned. And so, although that might be a concern for the commissioners on a more regular basis, we have not held a formal public hearing. Maybe, you know, maybe we did on the nursing home or something.
Yeah.
But that was a special case, but our normal thing is not. Okay.
Madam Chairman, the purpose of today's meeting was to present the budget to the delegation, but it was also for the general public to ask questions. The delegation all gets involved with this later on, but as you can see, not too many people show up from the general public.
That was probably your thing that you sent out, said public hearing.
Yes.
And it should have had a different word in it.
Yes, it said public hearing.
Well, I didn't write that word, but that's okay.
And Madam Chairman, while
I put presentation of the budget, but anyhow.
if anybody would like to order a sandwich for lunch from the cafe, fill out that form and they'll deliver it here.
How much longer are we going to be here before I do
Oh,
that?
maximum of 10 minutes.
Wait, want to order too?
No, work this out.
Okay, just a couple of other quick things. Number one, you need to be sure to put your mileage down because, and that's round trip mileage. We do, as delegation members, get paid, I think it's $25 each time you're here, along with mileage. One thing that we did implement last year, and I want to make sure that this delegation agrees with it, is that when you came for subcommittee meetings, you could in fact sign up for mileage. And that is becomes the responsibility of whomever is the chairman of that particular group to make sure that Kathy Gary gets the sign up. That doesn't, you don't get the $25, you simply get the mileage if that's what you want. So some of us sign up, some of us don't. And that's a choice that you as a person can make. So that's, is that the position that we want to go into this budget year with, or not? We didn't overexpend our budget, by the way, using that philosophy. So.
Move to continue.
Okay.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sounds like a 15-0 vote. Do we have to go into convention to ratify that?
Move to go into convention. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Could I have a motion?
Move to continue the past practice of reimbursement of mileage, both for delegation meetings and subcommittee.
I would just say for subcommittee meetings.
For subcommittee meetings. Corrected.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Move to come out of convention.
15-0.
You only have four.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If I might, I have to leave in just a couple of minutes. I apologize for having to leave a bit early. And if it works, I would love to be on the nursing home subcommittee, and I would be happy to chair that committee if the other members want that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's go around the room and ask people which subcommittee they want to serve on. So, Mark, Representative McConkey.
I was going to hold off until we'd gone through, but the jail, and corrections, and farm, or sheriff, doesn't matter, wherever the hole hits.
Okay. All right. Tom, Representative Bucco, have you had an opportunity to think about this?
Attorney and Cooperative Extension, Regional Appropriations.
Okay. Representative Schmidt.
How about jail and regional appropriations?
Representative Nelson.
Either health and home care services or human services.
Well, you can do both. Okay, we'll put you on nursing home because that one does take a little bit of time. Representative Lavender.
I'm amenable to anything.
Okay.
Good answer.
Representative Tyser.
And my first choice would be the jail, and my second would be regional appropriations.
This is unlike Concord, if you want what you want. So we don't make. Representative Wright.
The Sheriff Department, please.
Okay. Crawford. Representative Crawford.
You can't read
Thank
that.
you. No, I can't. We're going to have to teach the people downstairs to have bigger letters.
Yes, right.
That's quite all right. I think that being from a law enforcement family, I'd like to be on sheriff dispatch.
Okay. Representative Cordelli.
I would select administrative.
Okay.
And if I could make a request in relation to that, I see the county has an IT committee, but it has not met in 2 years. I would like to respectfully suggest that information technology be added to the administrative responsibilities. Since we have some laptops and tablets here today, and there was, I know, discussion about wireless and so forth, and it crosses all department lines in the budget, evidently.
Yes, it does. Okay, no problem. So you're suggesting that our, the administrative
Subcommittee, yeah,
subcommittee
include IT responsibilities.
Look at that across the entire.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Representative Merrill.
Nursing home. And I guess all those little things that go along with it too, like the nurses and all that stuff, that's all part of the nursing home, right? Am I correct? Okay, that's enough then. Nursing home.
Representative White.
Jail, sheriff.
Representative Alden.
Well, let's see, I've chaired the sheriff and the attorneys, and I've been on the nursing home and the jail, so I think I'd like to be on the nursing home, and then you can kind of pick wherever else you need to fill me in, you know, when it gets down to it.
I always forget the H in your name. Okay, did I leave the farm off?
Yeah, you did.
Farm and register of deeds.
A little short on administration.
No, registry of deeds is in the attorney, victim, witness, medical referee, registry of deeds, co-op, and regional appropriations. So, where do we want to put the farm? I don't think the farm has enough to be all by itself.
Is there maintenance function with that also?
Is the water department?
Yeah.
Water, sewer, all of
I know,
that.
but it's still not a lot. So let's add the farm, let's add the farm to the attorney, victim, witness, medical.
That's kind of a stretch though, isn't it, Madam Chair?
Doesn't matter. We all have to know about every department, and so it's, I don't think it's, I think that from my perspective, I would, it would be better to have people looking at that,
Okay.
So we'll add, I'm sorry I left the farm off. And it's not because, Will, there's any ill will. Okay, I just didn't do that. So, Representative McConkey, then that will put you on the attorney.
Yes,
okay.
thank you.
And I will be with, on the administrative committee, that kind of general thing. So, I notice, yes, you have a comment?
If I could, Madam Chair, Registry of Deeds has always had its own subcommittee. Is it, you're not feeling that there is a need, I mean, just as jail, just as the nursing home?
I understand that, and actually I felt that it was the groupings that I made were so that we would have sufficient people on each of the committees and not end up with one person on 4 or 5 committees. And so I feel very comfortable with where we are, and it's...
What is this committee being called, and it's going to oversee this many different departments?
I don't know. It's being called Attorney, Victim, Witness, Medical Referee, Registry of Deeds, Cooperative Extension, Regional Appropriations, and Farm.
We should have a nice catchy title.
That's up to whomever decides to be the chairman. You can call it what you want.
Potpourri?
I'm sure we can come up with an acronym.
So you can, that's the way it is. And so as it stands right now, everybody got this email, I know. So Representative Cordelli and Umberger will take care of the administrative tasks to include IT, Sheriff and Dispatch. I've got Representative Chandler, Representative Wright, and Representative Crawford, and Representative White, Wright and White, okay? So, we'll talk about that. Jail, okay, out of those 4 people, is there anyone that is willing to step up to be the chairman of that committee? Don't all raise your hand at once.
I think we should make Chandler.
I would suggest that Representative Chandler probably has enough to keep him busy with his minority leader position in the House. And so, Representative Crawford, I would ask that you will step forward. And I knew that you wanted to do that. I could tell.
I have resolved.
Okay.
Thank you.
Representative Cordelli, I think the 2 of us can probably figure out that we can all...
Co-chairs.
Yeah. Okay, Jail and House of Corrections. I have Representative McConkey, Representative Schmidt, Representative Ticehurst, and Representative White. Steve?
I missed that last one. It was Schmidt, McConkey, and who?
Ticehurst and White. Can I ask you to step up to be the chairman of that committee? Thank you.
What an honor, Madam Chair.
I knew that would get you there. Okay, on the nursing home and annex, I've got Representative Butler, Representative Nelson, Representative Algren.
And
Is there any?
What about me?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't write you down, Harry. Thank you. Representative Algren volunteered to be the chairman of that committee. Thank you so much. And attorney, victim witness, medical referee, registry of deeds, cooperative extension, regional appropriations, and the farm. We have Representative Bucco, Representative Schmidt, and Representative McConkey.
And Ticehurst.
You wanted? Yes.
I'd like to suggest my own name as chairman.
I think that's a wonderful suggestion. Thank you. Now, Representative Lavender, after listening to this wonderful group of people volunteering for all of these many committees, I was wondering if you might join us on our administrative committee.
I'll be glad to.
All right, thank you. And since there are three of us, we can figure out whatever that is.
Tri-chair.
Tri-chair. Tri-chair.
It's a stool.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Madam Chair, maybe
yes.
you could just speak to timelines or when you would expect these.
Yes. I will ask that your, well, let me just say this. Generally, the month of January is the time when the subcommittees meet and hopefully can come back to the delegation with some recommendations. And so, unless anyone has any real desire to come down to Ossipee between now and then, I would suggest that perhaps our next meeting should be January 28th, which I believe is the last Monday in January. Is that correct, Kathy?
That is correct.
Okay, okay. And that between now and then, that the subcommittees will have, what, 3 weeks to meet and get your, preliminary thought process. In the last 4 years, we have not managed to finish our budget until the final day, which is March 30th, I think, is the final day to have the budgets approved, and perhaps we can change that pattern this year. Okay, perhaps we can't, but we need to really concentrate on this, because when we start getting into February, things start to get a little more busy down at the State House. Okay, we generally don't have meetings on Mondays or Fridays, so those become the days when we can, the subcommittees can meet. So that's kind of what I would like the committee chairman for planning purposes to do. And just to make this a little easier, I was going to ask the clerk to email the committee assignments out, but he escaped. So I will, over the week, sometime this week, I will get this out so that everybody knows what it is, and then the chairman can sign up and, sign up for the meetings. Okay.
If the chairman will let us know when they're meeting, we can put it on the website.
Yes, the meetings all do have to be posted, so you've got to...
Take minutes.
Yeah, you've got to take minimal minutes, okay? And you have to notify the office that you're having a meeting. And generally, that has to be done at least 48 hours? 48 hours ahead of time, I think is the time frame. So
phone number?
539-2428.
No, that's not. Is that right?
That's our office number.
Yeah,
539-2428.
Yeah. And the numbers for all the departments are in that little blue booklet.
Oh, great.
And you can speak to Lori. And we don't need to, if generally she will send out email notifications, and I hope that will continue to the entire delegation that there's going to be a subcommittee meeting on such and such if you want to attend. But that's totally up to you. Anybody else have anything? I've got two things left. Okay.
I was just going to take this moment to ask all the delegation members to hang around after we do adjourn, because that sounds like we're wrapping up pretty quick. And because we're going to have our photograph taken from by Melissa Siemens from the Carroll County Independent, so she requested that we all hang around for that after.
And I would personally like to thank Commissioner Solomon for her 4 years on the commission. I know that she has been an extremely dedicated commissioner and has worked tirelessly for the good of the county. And perhaps she should be identified as Mrs. Nursing Home because of all of the work that she has done on that. But that's only one of many, many areas that that she has worked on, and I know that I appreciate that very much, and I know that the delegation, both past and present, appreciate all of the things that you have done to move this county forward. So if I could, thank you very much.
If I could, Madam Chairman, I'd second that. As chairman of the Board of Commissioners, she's done an outstanding job as commissioner. She's done a lot of work behind the scenes, maybe not outspoken at meetings, but she's done a great job as county commissioner and a great support for the residents in Carroll County.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Are there any public comments? Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Madam Chairman.
Please provide your name.
David Babson.
Thank you.
About 4 or 5 weeks ago, I suggested to the commissioners that they put a hotspot in here so we could use our iPads and computers and telephones, and as a result of what we saw as an advantage in Concord this past year. I checked with the IT man, and it's less than $100. The wire comes right up to that corner, and all they got to do is come across here, and I would encourage the delegation to encourage the commissioners to make it a priority to get it put in.
That'd be the first job of the new commissioner.
I have no problem with that, okay? However, the problem I do have is with people doing things like telephones and iPads instead of the business that we're here to do. So I have, I agree that that would be a very fine idea. But I don't think the delegation has to worry with that, because if it's only $100, I bet that someplace in our $14 million budget, we can find $100 to take care of that. Does anyone else, am I forgetting anything? Okay.
One last comment, Madam Chairman. Yes. You mentioned that it's difficult for the delegation members to meet in February. Would somebody look into perhaps changing our fiscal year to July 1 rather than January 1? There are 3 other counties that have a July 1 basis. It would mean collecting a year and a half of taxes, which is a downfall, but we have more time available at that time of year, or you people do, to look at our budget. So I just throw that out for a possibility.
I wasn't, I just said that they get busier in February. That doesn't mean we still don't have our Mondays open, because they do keep those Mondays for county work, and as a rule. So that is certainly a proposal that you could bring to the administrative committee, and they will think about it. But other than that, I mean, that's what we're attempting to do. Yes.
Give you a new degree. Madam Chairman, any of the new members or any of the members want a tour of my facilities today, they're welcome to apply. Right down on the bottom of the door, left when you get off the
There are several places that I believe that all delegation members should go to. That's, because it helps if you know what all these things are about. So I would ask that the chairs of each of these various committees ensure that your committee members get a tour of that area. And then I would ask the commissioners if it's possible that at 8 or 8:15 or however long you think it might take, or after a delegation meeting, to take people to the jail, the nursing home, the ones that aren't on, out to the farm, show us the wood splitter you want to replace, and just kind of plan that.
More of an orientation.
Right. And I don't, just so that folks have an idea, but you can. But I do feel that at least the committees need to know what's going on in the areas that they're working with. So, okay. Anyone have anything else? Is there someone that would like to move to adjourn?
I'll move it.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
See you on the 28th.
Chris.
Yes, sir.
Please make sure if your phone number isn't on here,